Peace and blessings, and my name is Carlos Walker, and this is Art and Hustle, Black Authors Matter, Seasons 2. And today I have Miss Azria Huar. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Oh, amazing. So, one, I want to thank you for joining me, and I want to ask if you will share a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so my name's Azria. I am a published author. I wrote The Year Package, which is a dark romance supernatural story.
This is Art and Hustle, Black Authors Matter, Season 2. And today I got Azria Huar. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Amazing. So, before we start, if you will share a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Hi, my name's Azria. I am a published author of a dark romance supernatural story called The Year Package. First published book, so we're going through it.
Congratulations, first of
Thank you.
all. So if you will, one, I want to ask, why did you create it? Or how did you start writing?
I've always been someone who likes to tell stories, even as a child. I know that's typical of writers, but yeah, I've always been a writer. One thing that I do obviously make very known is that most of my stories come from dreams. So I am a big avid person of like your dreams mean stuff. I think I'm quite blessed to be able to have that skill or that gift. So when I do have a dream and I remember it, most importantly, I'm always like, yeah, this is something that needs to be told. Maybe for others, maybe for me, but yeah, that's why I create it, basically.
And that's, I'm assuming, how you started as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you ended up taking, I guess, a dream and creating the book that you created.
Yeah, which I find that the dreams that I do end up taking to stories, most of it has already been done, I would say, for me, but obviously I've contributed to it. But most of my stories that I've taken into completion, into like it fully visualized, the dream is the majority of it, and I kind of just work around the little bits that haven't been fleshed out.
Interesting. I like the idea and the thought of it. Now, share about your book. What is it about? Give us a few characters maybe in it. You ain't got to go through the whole book, because what I do want them to do, go buy her book.
Yeah. So it follows a sex worker. Her name is May. She's a Black woman. She's from London, and a little bit at one point she was in Scotland, and she's come to the States. And essentially she gets into sort of a contractual agreement with this billionaire, and he basically hires her for a whole year. And in that time, you see the relationship kind of teetering on. Is she still working? Is this legit? And then you also have the other aspects of it means to be a sex worker. Like she's got other clients, she's got other aspirations outside of this, and then you've got a bit of, you know, his business and his ongoings. There's mentions of the IRS and FBI, so you've got that as well. And yeah, it's mainly a romance, but there's other elements that play into it as well.
Now, I do have to ask the question. What made you make her a sex worker?
Oh, again, that came from the dream. I had no, like, that was just so, in the dream, I was May. Funnily enough, my partner, before I met him, he actually resembles the main character, which is quite funny because I didn't know him when I wrote and finished the book. So it's kind of like I materialized him. But yeah, she just happened to be one in the dream. And I was just like, that's a pretty interesting theme to look through. Like, at what point does it stop being a job and actually becomes your life? Is it sort of nature nurture sort of conflict, which I just ended up writing about and exploring in the book.
Did you do any homework on the topic before you jumped into it, or how did that because I know it came from the dream, but I'm just my mind is blown now.
It kind of started with questions, just like, how do people navigate? Is it like, obviously people have 304 Talk, which is its own branch within TikTok that gives you an insight into those lives, but it can be glamorous. It can not be glamorous very quickly. And there's different types. You have sex workers, you have escorts, and it's not just you pay for this person for sex. It's a lot deeper than that. Some people don't even do that. Some people, it's literally like you pay for a girlfriend package or a boyfriend package where you literally give someone the experience of being a girlfriend, which is one of the themes that we touch on in the book with a different person within the story. So, and then I also looked at the laws, like what is the law surrounding, especially in Seattle, which is where it's set. So I was looking at what are the laws for sex work, for prostitution, for escorts, and how that would play in the story, which again is another aspect that plays into the part outside of the romance, which is one of the troubles and obstacles that the characters face at one point, which if I ever get around to writing the full series does have a domino effect on at what point do things become blurry, and at what point do we start doing things for the sake of capitalism, love, lust, and all that stuff as well.
Very interesting topic, but also love the fact that you did homework beforehand, not just went and wrote just because you had a great idea. And it, like I said, what do you call it? Because it's not just a romance. What did you call it? Dark? Hold on, not dark.
Yeah, dark romance. Yeah, it's not your sort of fluffy romance. It touches on a lot of themes, not necessarily between the people in the relationship. I think for me, dark romance, while it touches on sort of difficult themes within romance, I think the whole thing is quite thoughtful, quite thought-provoking, should I say. And it touched on some darker themes that not many people touch on, and explores how what happens to people when they don't put themselves first, and at what is lust, what is love, when do we start being truthful to ourselves and holding each other accountable and stuff like that. So not necessarily darker themes, but very real themes as well. If you want to call that dark, you can do, but yeah.
I guess the movie, it would give me a resemblance of Pretty Woman.
Okay, yeah.
She was actually a sex worker.
Yeah, she was. Actually, I should mention that when I start telling people, if you like this one, you'd like my book.
Yes, because now I think about it, that's what she was, and it turned into romance.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, look, they got, I don't know if they got married. They probably should have made a part 2, but the great thing about it, you get to make 3 and 4, 2, 3, and 4 of your book, and make it a trilogy, and make it, bring it full circle and blow people's minds, because that just stopped.
Yeah. I mean, there are plans. I've written the second book pretty much straight after I wrote the first one. And then the third one, I've got an idea of what I want to touch on. And then I also sort of had plans and started writing the prequel. But I think that it's when you're a writer, sometimes you outgrow the story. So at the moment, I personally feel like I've outgrown the second book. So there will come a time where I'd like go back to it and revisit it, and just like who I am now and how that translates in the book would probably change it a little bit at this point.
At least make sure that you drop the second one, because you already did the work.
Yeah, it's true.
I can see it. Look, I can see if it was just still a thought, but you done already wrote the book.
Yeah, I think I was riding on that high.
Look, it happens. So first book done. How has it been taken? How has people received it?
You know what? It's been positive. I am my worst critic. I was saying to my friend, because she was like, yeah, I read your book in a day. And then I went and go and recommended it to my other friend, and she banged that out in a day as well. And I was just like, oh. I think for me, I mean, I've read my book so many times. Like, I already know what happens. It kind of loses. I love my book, but when you've read it so many times, you're like, oh yeah, this is all right. This is all right book. And I think what's crazy is I've had positive reactions to it. But most importantly, I've had people, like, aside from the PR boxes, I've had people actually spend their money. And in this climate, you can't just be spending your money on anything, especially on objective forces of media. Like, if you don't like it, that's money wasted. You can't get that back, and it's all subjective whether or not someone likes your book. So to have someone spend money on my book and then come back and say that was actually a good use of my money, it's like, oh, maybe it's okay. Clearly it's people aren't getting refunds, which is, I think that in itself is the best testament. How many refunds do you get on your book determines how great it is, because people liked it, not just because I'm their friend, but because they genuinely liked it. And that, yeah, that is great to hear.
It most definitely is. As an author myself, I can understand the feeling that you're speaking of, by just learning that people really truly enjoyed the body of work, knowing that you can get feedback, whether it's friend or somebody that you have never known, just giving you feedback, and then you know, hey, great body of work. When is the next book?
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna hold you long. I do want to ask you before you go, what do you want to gain from the material that you write?
Just for it to be someone's comfort book, to have someone read it, and they go, damn, I ain't thought of it like that. This was something. You know, when people say, what's that book that changed your whole brain chemistry? I'd love for someone to say, yeah, that The Year Package that I read, yeah, that sat with me. That sat and stayed, and it has stayed for however many years. But for that to change someone's perception of life, perception of anything, would be an awesome feeling to have as a writer, as an author. Yeah.
So before we go, I need a few things. I need you to give me a word of wisdom for anybody who's just starting writing or just got a passion in something, whether they've been young, old, hell, sex worker, prison, it doesn't matter, or the John or the person who, hey, purchased. But I would like for you to give me a word of wisdom for them. And then two, I would like for you to share. Do you have a copy of your book?
Yes.
I would love for you to share the copy of your book. Tell them where they can actually purchase this book.
Oh, I didn't think I had to bring it with me, but I always have a few like lying around. But words of wisdom, which I probably should take on for myself, is it's not going to be perfect. It rarely ever will be perfect. Sorry, that is my laptop. It won't be perfect, but it will be something. You can't edit a blank page, as everyone says, and one word is better than no words. And just keep going, really. If you want it to be, it will be. But yeah.
And show the copy of your book and tell me where they can.
Book. So you can buy it off Amazon. Yeah, it's on Amazon at the moment. You can do it online on Kindle as well. I believe it might not be free anymore on Kindle, but Kindle Vella, I think it's got a subscription. So Amazon, this is where it's at. This is my book.
So I want to once again thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
It's an honor. Look, to meet authors, to meet people who take that thought. To me, I look at people who can take a thought and bring it into make it into a product or manifestation. They're like alchemists. They can take nothing and make it into gold. You actually have a book that you can actually make money on. And what happens, this is an income. There's a second income depending on how you push the book.
Yeah.
So I congratulate you for creating the first one, doing the second one, hopefully soon about to drop the second one. And then in time, do the third one. And hey, what we get to do is help push your book. So
I appreciate it.
It's an honor. Look, my name is Carlos Walker. This is Art and Hustle, Black Authors Matter, and she's Audria Huar. It's a blessing to meet you.
Thank you. Happy Black History Month, by the way.
Happy Black History Month. Look, love you, and hey, I'll be in touch with you.
Love to hear it.